same poll probably in like October that was like, Trump on the economy, they're going to improve by like 60% because that's what got him elected. So like, that's right, the Dark Lord. So like, what's going wrong there?
So y'all are taking blips in time right now. I mean, when we look at from the time that Trump was elected until just recently, yeah, our inflation, the Fed targets. We've 3% and then maximum employment. That's why we've been, going great now with the recent war. And then, I want to remind you that we also hit all-time lows in the United States. We had the oil prices or gasoline prices in America went below Biden or the below 2021 pricing. So it was, I think. I don't want to give you exact numbers, but we had experienced the lowest since 2021, right? And so we were headed in the right direction. And so it wasn't until last month, right? And I want to remind you also that nobody gave credit to Trump for bringing down the gas prices as low as they came. It was, oh, Trump, the president doesn't control prices. They were going down prior. But let me remind you this: as soon as this happened, who are you blaming for the prices going up? President Trump. And so you don't get to have it both ways to where you're not giving them thanks when we're bringing it down. But the second they start to go up, which is because I think of a warranted reason, then, hey, bad Trump, and now our economy's in shit. No, that's not how it works.
Let's address a few of the points.
Okay.
Let's address a few things. So number one, just to start kind of from the end, like I don't know. I'd be curious for a source of oil prices the lowest since 2021. I think they certainly held fairly stable, almost identical up and before this to a year ago. Well, this would have been 6 months, 8 months into his presidency. The end of 2024 under Joe Biden, they were practically identical. So I don't. I mean, I know Donald Trump at that time. There's a clip of him saying oil prices have reached a 20-year low. They weren't even at like a time. So like he's just made shit up. He just makes shit up all. Yeah, I certainly don't think there was this like massive decline in oil prices. A substantially different, certainly from the end of Joe Biden's presidency. So I don't really care if like it was the lowest price since 2021. And then to some of the other points, like obviously the long term is 2%. And I don't think that like that's really paints a full picture at all of inflation. I think Donald Trump started on January 20th with inflation at 2.9%. We got down to I think 2.4%, roughly, because I can't remember the number off the top of my head. And then all of a sudden we went from 2.4 to 2.7 to 2.9 to 3. And that started right around April, which there was some giant, I can't remember, I think it's called Liberation Day, where we enacted like tariffs all across the world, or on goods coming into the United States that were paid for by U.S. businesses. So obviously, like and there's data to support, it's not just correlation without causation, data to support that increase in inflation was caused by tariffs. And then I think we've been bouncing up and down since then. Partly because he backed off on a lot of his tariffs, and I think partly because the U.S. economy is really, really, really slowing down. And in relation to the Fed, I think the Fed has said it twice, including this week, and then right when he got elected, that they've substantially had to change plans because of expected inflation due to Donald Trump. So, I mean, before the election, they wanted to do they wanted to cut rates 4 times, I believe, in 2025. Donald Trump gets elected. Their next Fed meeting, they say all these tariffs, and that's exactly what happened. And then more recently, to a lot of people's dismay, because you're dealing with stagflation, you're down, the slowest pace of hiring since in 25 years, not including COVID. uh, and the employment rate rising, and consumer confidence near an all-time low. So the economy is really starting to sputter. People are feeling the pain, but inflation keeps rising. It puts the Fed in a hard spot. You'd rather the economy slow down and at least inflation's lowering, so you can, I don't know, cut rates and try to pick it up. But I think that, like, the way you describe the story on inflation is certainly not the full story, and Donald Trump has played a pretty big role in keeping prices relatively high, especially considering inflation was lowering for, like, I don't know how many months off the top of my head, so I'm just going to throw a number out there. But I want to say, a year and a half or something, that we had consistent decline in inflation. Maybe not as fast as we all would have liked, but that changed when we implemented these tariffs.
Yeah, so that was a lot. So you would agree that the price of oil does play a major impact in inflation, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so back to the statement of Trump had the lowest oil prices since 2021. There's a Politico article, and I believe Politico would be on your side, right? More of a left-leaning, bias news organization. Would you agree with that, sir?
No, I think they're just factual, but sure.
Okay, well, so their article states that oil prices slumped to the lowest point since 2021 after the tariff announcement, and then it shows oil prices from 120 all the way down to the $40 a barrel. So, in fact, Trump did bring down the oil prices, which I believe also contributed to helping bring down the inflation. So those are objective facts.
Wait. I just wait. No.
I'll let you finish.
I know, but
I'll let you talk for about 5 minutes.
But
go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just feel like there's an important time out there, which is you really brutally contradicted yourself in two statements. You said, I believe that this is what brought down inflation, and you said that's an objective fact. Number one,
what I said was objective is that the oil prices came down. That is an objective fact.
Okay, but there's still one problem with that, which is, what did Donald Trump do to cause those prices to come down?
The tariffs.
How did the tariff prices cause oil prices to come down?
According to this article, it says, and I just wanted to bring up something for you. Let me scroll back up. The U.S. oil industry is suffering from the lowest crude prices in years, surging costs for steel, and economic downturn that could send consumers' demand for its products plummeting. Oil prices have tumbled nearly 15% since April 2nd. Their lowest level since April of 2021, a drop that is testing oil executives' patience. And it's prompting some in the industry to warn the White House that Trump's trade policy risks killing the plan for energy dominance. So it was the tariffs in his trade policy that were bringing down the oil prices. I mean, according to that article there.
Right. I think the reason I asked you is because, like, again, you're obviously citing. There's obviously
an article.
I understand. I'm just saying there's obviously a potential negative that comes with what you just said, which is that there's, these tariffs that cause significantly less potential demand and causing these shocks, which will lower oil prices. I mean, obviously, some of those negatives of lower demands and alienating our allies, even if with those lower demands playing out, things still being shipped to the United States that had, the demands were lowered because of the tariffs, and the tariffs are obviously caused inflation. So I'm just saying, like, it's to act as if Donald Trump enacted a policy that caused oil prices to go down is, like, I just feel like a little misleading, as opposed to Donald Trump enacted a policy that caused a global shock in the market and assumed less demand for people, which has its potential negatives, and then caused oil prices to lower. But continue.
Any way you want to slice it or dice it, Donald Trump's policies is what was resulted in the reduction.
Sure.
Chris, you got to let me finish.
I know. I was just gonna briefly say, I'm just generally.
But again, I've let you briefly, but like very extenuously say, but I can't get a word in without you interrupting me. But go ahead.
If you crater the economy, like, I'm not suggesting that he has done this yet. I'm just saying, like, based on your logic, like, if someone craters the economy, then and the oil prices go super low because nobody's buying any oil because no one has any money, then his policies caused oil to be lower. I'm just saying, that's all. I think the logic's not really great.
Chris, in order to say based on my logic, you're going to have to allow me to finish to be able to draw the conclusion that my logic is flawed, but you're not allowing me that ability. Would you agree? I mean, I think that's something you could agree that you're not allowing me to complete my statements, and you're getting caught up in like, oh my god, I disagree, and I got to say it now. And I mean, just friendly, just advice. If you want to do this, you got to allow the other side to be able to continue, or at least complete their thought. I mean, it's fair, right? If you want to have a genuine debate, you got to be able to allow the other side to finish, just as I've allowed you to finish. And Chris, there's been many times that I've wanted to jump in and be like, dude, you're wrong. But that's what a debate is about. I can point that out when you finish, and which I've been trying to do, but you've not been allowing me. So again, I'm not gonna. We don't need to keep talking about that, but just just please allow me to complete my thoughts. And so where we were in discussion, which was regarding the oil prices. And we agreed that oil prices do impact inflation at the end of the day. And so the comments that I was making is prior to the recent conflict in Iran, which we all can agree has caused a spike in the oil price, which definitely is going to have an effect on inflation, which, yes, nobody wants that to happen. But prior to that, we were doing well because of Trump's policies in bringing the cost of energy down. And when the cost of energy comes down, product, and it's Chris, I see you want to talk, so I'll land it there. But I need you to acknowledge that, and that it is objective that he brought that down, and that.
Not going to agree to that because again, if you could, if I understand. I sort of understand your logic, but I'm not like, again, we're making a bunch of assumptions about economic data that doesn't exist. It's number one. And number two, the other, I think, problem with the logic is that, again, via what you cited, which I agree with, I said I didn't think that they'd come down to the lowest point since 2021. I was wrong. But the article you said about why they came down to the lowest, a barrel of oil came down to the lowest price since 2021 or GAV or, whatever. Was because of tariffs that were enacted that caused demand to slump. And so you say he enacts these tariffs, which cause oil to come down, which causes prices to come down. But the thing that caused the oil to come down was inflationary itself. So I just don't think that, I think that there's like a big missing piece of your logic where I explained, and I think again, this is not just an assumption, but also economic data to go along with it, that we saw 6 months of consistent rising inflation directly caused from his tariff. So if you implement a tariff policy that lowers oil, I'm curious how much the lower cost of oil is going to play a role in lowering prices when you have just enacted an incredibly inflationary policy. All of that to say, even if we were going to disagree on that was, as you said, that was then, and now we're here, which is a war that has no justification, and exploding oil prices that I think are about to get scarily substantially worse.
So I would definitely, if we want to move to Iran or Iran, I'll try to say it correctly. But that definitely is a warranted war, friend. I mean, we've been talking about it for, I don't know, as long as I can remember, and I'm pretty old. And so it's definitely something that's needed to be addressed. Obviously, I would argue that if COVID didn't hit or CVID didn't hit, that we probably would have done something about it in Trump's 1.0. But I think that drastically maybe changed some things in our focus. Not to say that we took our eye off the ball that much, but we definitely probably had some higher priorities at that time.
So
Go ahead.
Try to be as genuine as you possibly can be. Like, there's no way that going into this Trump administration that you were hearing conversations about the idea that now we have a strong leader, we can deal with a problem that's been a problem for 50 years. And I think on top of that, okay. On top of that, there's no way that something being a problem for 50 years comes even close, or something being a problem for a long time comes even close to a justification for an imminent strike. And I think that, again, as I hear from different people, I hear from lots of different Trump supporters, many different versions of justifications. Like, I think it's important to note that your version of why we did this is different from Donald Trump's, which at first was different than from Marco Rubio's, which was different from the Pentagon's and different from a set of other administration officials, all who had a different version as to why there was a need for an imminent strike. And I think in all that, part of the reason, if I would suspect, part of the reason it's been a problem for a long time, but no president has ever done this, is because there's a lot of potential negatives that come with it. One of which is that, they control like a huge percentage of oil production. And, Donald Trump is figuring out the really hard way that they have the Strait of Hormuz closed, and you've now eviscerated all the infrastructure around it. Goldman Sachs and United say they're prepared for $175 for a barrel of oil. Some are now saying up to $200 for a barrel of oil. I think recession would put that lightly. That would be unprecedented and a global economic or a global energy squeeze. And we saw today places in Asia like Thailand start to put restrictions on. They now have a 4-day work week because they're scared that they're going to run out of oil. We see other countries putting restrictions on shower time and AC time and all these other things. And I think that there is now also, even if Donald Trump backs out tomorrow, which I think he's about to initiate some version of a ground invasion of Iran, this will be Goldman Sachs also saying that they're prepared. They don't believe that oil prices will go down below $100 a barrel until at best mid-2027, because again, you have eviscerated billions of dollars of infrastructure that took decades to build. It's not just like it starts flowing again, and I think it's reasonable to believe that this will have some effect on oil prices for possibly the next 5 years. I've heard some economists say a decade. So, I just think that, again, the justification for an imminent strike is different for everyone. It clearly isn't there. 175 school children got instantly eviscerated by a U.S. taxpayer-funded missile in an obvious war crime. 13 American troops are dead. I don't even understand what the long-term goal is. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah. So you kind of moved a little bit, far away from the, reasoning that we went to war, and more went to, the effects of what has happened because we went to war, or we have engaged in this conflict, which I would argue has been a necessary thing that has needed to be done. And Trump is finally the president that did something about it. And so we can start, I suppose, with the Dorito that decided, this is back in June of 2025, right? You remember the B2 Dorito that dropped mozzarella sticks on Fordo and the other two facilities in Iran. You familiar with that? Mm-hmm. Do you remember what the Democrat talking points were after we made that first strike and that first mission? Let me answer it for you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Y'all claimed that we did maybe 2 months worth of damage to those facilities, and those were the facilities that were enriching uranium, had the centrifuges, right? Would you say that that's accurate, Chris?
Yeah, I think there was questions about how, we got leaks from the Pentagon.
You were right about that assessment that we didn't do as much damage as that we thought we did, and that
depends on who we is. That
was the Democrats. That was the Democrats' talking point. I believe y'all were on here, arguing that as well.
It's not really.
Did you argue that, Chris? Did you ever argue that we only did about 2 months worth of
Donald Trump? I argued this, which is that Donald Trump saying that it had been set back an entire generation, and like a classic small government conservative threatening media companies for not line up from the leak that we got from the Pentagon that suggests that we potentially didn't completely eviscerate their nuclear program.
So you'd agree that it wasn't completely eviscerated.
Clearly now that's okay. That must be.
Well, again, that was the talking points is yes.
Wait,
hold on, let me just finish.
No,
okay.
but it's
but I let you talk for a long time.
That's amazing. But I don't think that this has anything to do with what
If you'd allow me to finish, I'll tie it together.
That's great. But I don't think that this has anything to do with
But you're not going to let me finish, will you?
That's correct. I don't think that this has anything to do. I don't think that this has anything to do with the.
It does. Allow me to
Democrat,
finish.
I'm not going to. I'm going to finish first. This has nothing to do with the quote Democrat talking points. It's very simple. Donald Trump said that that he completely and totally eviscerated their nuclear program for a
Correct.
generation, and now we're striking because they're 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon, which you haven't even brought up once. So I don't know if you agree with the president on that standpoint or not.
I'll get there.
But
I'll get there
obviously,
if you let me.
obviously, that those two things contradict each other. Whatever Democrats were assuming at the time, like I really could care less.
It's always like this. When I was in sales, I would ask people questions. And the reason I would ask them questions is because I just let them talk, because all of the answers that I may be looking for will probably come from them just talking. So if you would allow me to finish, I bet all of the things that you have questions about that you're like, oh my God, I want to respond to this, I bet they all get answered. Do you understand? You realize that's how it works. That's how a conversation usually works. And then if there's anything that I didn't answer in my rebuttal, you'll have that opportunity to come back and be like, well, I didn't understand this, or what I heard you say is this. So, I mean, again, just allow me to finish, Chris, and we can have a better conversation. Is that fair?
Go ahead.
Okay. So again, where we were at, and I'm surprised that I can even place mark this and get back to it, but I'm glad I can. So we were at the Democrat talking point of we only did about 2 months worth of damage, right? And I don't know if I agree with Trump or if I agree with the Democrats, but let's just stick with I agree with the Democrats right now. And we only did 2 months worth of damage. And I don't even know if we said it, Trump, because Trump kept saying that they would still have the ability to be able to, salvage their material. That was talked about. So yes, he said he obliterated it, but he also discussed that they were rebuilding. And then there was evidence that showed that they were digging up their uranium. And so at the end of the day, if you go by the talking points of the Democrats 2 months, and then you look at the strike back in June of 2025 and fast forward to February, that was over 8 months ago. So now you fast forward and say, all right, 2 months, they've had an additional 6 months to dig it up, and now that much more time to be able to enrich it to the capacity or to the level of weapon grade. And so nobody knows. They say that the taking it from this level to the next level could be like a couple days to a week. And so we can't take that chance at the end of the day if they are in aspirations or going for that nuclear weapon. We are going to have to strike for the safety of the entire world, not just for the American people. And I'm going to land it there, Chris.
Yeah. So again, I just regardless of what other people said at the time, like Donald Trump said that it was set back for a generation. I just think we should take more seriously the words of the president of the United States. He says it was completely and totally eviscerated for a generation. That the nuclear weapon talking point didn't even come up until I don't know how many days later after he started this. When he said they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon, other administration officials said there never even mentioned a nuclear weapon. They all, at least some portion of them, mentioned a potential ballistic missile strike on allies on the region. Marco Rubio, when he first came out, didn't mention any of that and said that we had to strike because Israel was going to do it. And Donald Trump had the strength to know that if he went with them, there would be less casualties. He then walked that comment back a week later. So the next day. So none of those things are just they're not consistent. With not only what Donald Trump said at the time during the strike, but when this happened, nobody mentioned a nuclear weapon until Donald Trump said it. And so, again, it's clear to me that other administration officials who honestly are worse than Trump in some way, because at least they have some amount of competence. They know he's so dumb. They've sold out my future for, fame and money and Fox News hits. When they talked about it at length, or Marco Rubio, no one mentioned a nuclear weapon. So it's not even close to justifiable. And I don't understand why the first time we heard about a nuclear weapon was from Trump, who previously said it was completely and totally eviscerated for a generation.
Wait, so Chris, so what am I, and just make sure I'm hearing you correctly, is what you're saying right now is that Iran did not have aspirations.
That's the definition of a straw man. I did not say that.
So, but you're saying that Trump is the first person to suggest that Iran had nuclear weapons or was trying to get nuclear weapons, and you think it's a straw man asking you if you think that Iran was trying to acquire nuclear weapons? Wait, explain that to me, sir.
It's a straw man because you said, "Are you telling me that are you saying that Trump, or I'm sorry, I think you said, are you saying Trump?
What I'm hearing you say.
Can I speak? Can I speak?
Well, yes, of course. I've been letting you speak.
Okay. So you said that is it true that Iran? Are you saying that Iran didn't have an aspiration to get a nuclear weapon? No, that's not what I said at all. I think that the justification for if someone tells me that Iran is 2 years away from a nuclear weapon, I don't think that justifies an imminent strike by U.S. forces. And I think we've held that position for a long time. When I said Donald Trump was the first one to suggest, I was referencing after we started this engagement, Donald Trump, out of everybody in the cabinet, was the first one, I believe, to mention a threat of a nuclear weapon in relation to this strike. Other U.S. officials didn't mention a nuclear weapon. They had mentioned a ballistic missile threat, and Marco Rubio mentioned neither.
So, Chris, all of our discussions when it has come to Iran, regardless of the administration, regardless of the candidates, has always been themed with Iran can never have a nuclear
but
weapon.
I'm not going to get...
Chris, you got to let me finish, my guy. I mean, you see...
You were actually very respectful, and I appreciate you being respectful. And I probably would continue this conversation with a smile on my face if it wasn't 1:30 in the morning, but it is. So I have to cycle. Okay, I'm sorry. I appreciate you being respectful. I'd like to have another conversation soon, or actually continue the conversation. Hello, everybody from Isaiah's stream. Isaiah Martin is a fucking legend, bro. Oh, he's in my guest box. What a guy. Real quick. Clinton, thank you so much for $5 on Venmo. That actually goes a really long way. I don't take that ever for granted. Thank you so much. Can we get $1 million? That's a quick Celsius. Loving the hair color. Well, it's brown. And it's a nice shade of brown. It's always been brown. Maybe when I was very young, it was a nice blonde. Anarchism. Someone said anarchism is the path. It's like the definition. This actually, there's so much debate on Twitter right now. It's like the definition. All these leftists. I think I saw a TikTok video. It was like, no kings is so dumb and performative. It's like this Twitter post will never not be relevant, which says, here, I'm going to just find it. It's my favorite post ever. It's hilarious. And I just want to be clear, like I would consider myself like a progressive. I just think internet leftists are like insufferable. So it's just like anarchism is the way, or being like, someone was like, no kings is so performative. People on Twitter will really be like, you believe in voting? That pales in effectiveness to my strategy, firebombing a Walmart. And then they never firebomb a Walmart. I'm like, exactly. Everyone's bitching over here like, bro, why is no kings not violent? I'm like, what are you doing right now? What are you talking about right now?
Yo!
Is this my guy who just raided me? Is this him?
Yo!
Is this the guy who just raided me?
It sure is.
What is up, Drama Alert Nation? I'm your host, Killer Keemstar. What's up, man? How are you?
Bro, I just debated that guy that you had on here.
How'd that end?
Dude, it ended with me and Santana. He was crashing out so hard. We just started talking about sports, bro. And
That
he
guy
was
was
still
crashing out?
crashing. Yes, bro.
Why was he crashing? Why?
Because he cannot tolerate like just being cooked. He had no argument.
You can't tolerate being cooked. Well, wow. I wish I knew. I should have let you up while I was here.
You know, I get that it's a really demeaning feeling for the conservatives. I get it. But at some point, you just got to take the L, you know?
You got to. It'll be like when we play basketball, and you'll just have to like.
Oh, see, here you go, bro. There you go. There you go.
I'm sorry. But
Anyway.
how was your live though? It was good.
It was good, bro. It was good.
Speaking of,
I just want to say what's up, bro.
Dude,
Chris Mowry's the GOAT.
Isaiah, you're a legend. Actually, bro, look at this right here. I got a ball.
Bro, you cannot beat me at basketball,
buddy.
bro.
I was gonna go hoop tonight. But then I subjected myself to this. So.
You know what? Look, no matter how much, honestly, we might have to all TikTok live this.
Bro, I would do that so fast. Buddy, I should go set up my camera at some point in like this basketball area, or in I can't. I'm trying to protect my my location, my identity.
Wait, Chrissy's back.
Oh, is he? I should go set up and just start hooping. And you can see me hoop. I could go live and hoop. I'm gonna let you talk.
can't beat me, Chris.
I'm actually gonna let you talk to this man for a minute because I have to use the bathroom, dude.
All right, and then I'm going to sleep.
Okay, wait. You guys have a sit. Be civil for fucking 60 seconds. All right, I'll be right back.
I can have a civil conversation. Isaiah, you don't have a mute button, do you?
Hey, guy, you're gonna get probably 1 million views tomorrow, so you better be ready for it.
Oh, I'm down. Yeah, go educate your audience. I love it. You should also listen to that video and you will see what I was arguing exactly what you said. And you're not going to be real happy about that if you actually go back and listen to that video.
Okay.
I'm just saying. You think you cooked, but you didn't. Like, I encourage you to listen to that. And maybe it might help you for your future debates. Why do you think that's funny? I mean, like, honestly, like if you want to have a good debate, you have to allow people to have, rebuttals, Isaiah, and you didn't do that. And like at the end of the day, you can't have a good conversation. I was respectful to you, and I listened to everything you had to say. But when it came to me trying to talk to you, you didn't ever want to listen. Why do you think that's funny?
Oh yeah.
I mean, go listen to it. I mean, I encourage you, and you will hear exactly what I'm saying. Like, and if you disagree, let's talk about it. Like, why don't you bring it up and we can like play it, clip by clip. And I promise you'll see that you weren't very respectful on that live.
I never said that I was.
Okay, well, cool. Like, then don't like try to say that
because the difference is that I don't respect you.
Again, see, you're going into it. There's no reason that you shouldn't. I mean, just because I have a different opinion from you doesn't mean you shouldn't have respect, or at least, I get it. Respect is earned at the end of the day, but to go in and be like, F you, I don't like you just because of, your side that you're on.
I just want to make it very clear. I dislike you because you're disingenuous.
So give me an example of how I was disingenuous. Let's talk about this objectively.
For the 5th straight time, I'll ask you one last time. Are you saying that Doge was not created to cut spending?
I never said that. I said it was actually part of Trump's campaign to cut waste, fraud, and abuse.
That's not what I asked you.
I'm giving you the answer, and you're not. Again, how we started. You don't just because you don't like my answer doesn't mean it's not.
I asked you, was Doge created to cut spending, and you cannot give an answer. I just said
yes. It was created to curb waste, fraud, and abuse. What part are you listening?
So how did that happen if the government is spending more money than they did last year?
That wasn't your claim, though. Your
yes,
claim.
It was. How is it? So if my claim was about whether or not the government is cutting spending, and then I tell you that the Treasury has confirmed that the government is spending more money than they did last year, well, then that negates the point. If it was created to cut spending, but they're spending more money, that means it did not happen. What about this? Do you not understand?
Doge was put in place to cut wasteful spending, not spending as a whole. And we don't need to go to Guy, you have to allow me to finish. Like, you don't get to just interrupt because you don't like what I'm saying.
Chris, this is what I'm talking about.
Can I try to play third party here for a second? To the not guest that's not Isaiah Martin. Yeah, I mean, okay, like what you're saying.
Finish my statement.
Yeah, I will. But if I was going to accept your premise and say, okay, like Elon Musk himself said that through cutting that waste, fraud, and abuse, that they would be able to shave $1 trillion, which is by anyone who has a basic understanding of the economy, this is so absurd. But that he would be able to shave $1 trillion off the deficit. So he was the one making the claims that he would be able to cut the deficit through this waste, fraud, and abuse spending. So Isaiah's right.
Okay, so if you'd allow me to respond without being interrupted, please. This conversation, this conversation began as Isaiah making a claim that the American populace, their reason for voting for Trump was to reduce spending. I proceeded to, and then he proceeded to talk about Doge, and I had actually mentioned prior to that statement that Doge was part of the campaign promise. So I don't understand why it even got brought back up again. But the long of the short was he then went in to talk about, all of this wasteful spending, which I then claimed was subjective. And then he was like, no, this is objective, which at the end of the day, you don't get to claim it's objective. How I think spending should be and how you think spending should be is by its very definition subjective. And so just because you think it's wasteful doesn't mean it's wasteful. And just like, some of the Doge programs that y'all probably thought should have remained and I thought should have gone, it's going to be argued about all day. So for you to sit there and argue that your comments were objective is just wild as all get out.
And so this is what I'm talking about, Chris.
I'm not done. So
he's trying to say that it's subjective to say
I'm not done.
That it's absurd the government is spending more money than they did last year. You see, it's like you cannot even you can't even reason with this,
Chris. This is what I'm talking about. Like, if y'all want to have a conversation, like, I don't interrupt you. I give you the respect to allow you to finish. But neither of y'all have been able to have the self-control to do the same. And regardless if you like me or not, if you like my opinion or not, if you want to engage in civic debate, you have to be able to have that self-control. Why is that funny?
It's just like
you immature.
It's so
I know y'all are younger. I know you're younger, but the way y'all are doing this is, it's very immature. Like, again, I'm trying to give y'all the respect.
This is like such
at the end of the day and listen to you, but y'all aren't willing to listen to me. You
okay,
realize
please.
that, right?
I want to hear. I want to hear this. Go ahead. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, he can't get it in 60 seconds.
I definitely can get it. If you want to put a timer up, I'd be happy to. If that would help you stop interrupting me, I think that would probably be best. And so at the end of the day, I'm trying to bring it back to where we were, which is what you're doing, Isaiah, is the epitome of the straw man. You took something that I was saying, which we actually agreed upon, and then you just wanted to create a minute argument around that. And that happens because you don't have the self-control to be able to allow an individual to finish so you can hear the actual substance of the debate and the argument. And I'll land it there, Isaiah, because I can see your box lighting up and that self-control just not being able to hold on. So there you go, bud.
All right, look. To that guest, I still hold my previous position that at least when it came to our debate, you were respectful. We can have another conversation another time. I'm just tired, and my head's starting to hurt. I don't know, bro. You and Isaiah, handle your business. But it sounds like to me Isaiah was being pretty reasonable. So that's trying to be as objective as I can be. But Isaiah's always reasonable. This guy's a fucking legend. Chat. I tell Isaiah this. I've told Isaiah this privately once. You and the guest here. Quiet. Shh. I've told Isaiah this once. That's right. I've told Isaiah this once. And this is not a shot. This is genuinely not a shot at any of the other amazing people, including content creators, many of which, breaking news guy, Parnas, what a guy, Olivia Leon. This is not a shot at anyone else that I know in the field. But Isaiah truly, two things about Isaiah. Number one, he is one of the very few people who has inspired me and actually in some ways, especially relating to the Democratic Party, changed my opinion on certain things. And he's inspiring the way he fights. And number two, he's somebody that when I have a political question or I'm curious about something, I will often call and listen very closely to. That's not to suggest that other people don't listen closely to. He's just one of the few people that I really this guy is wicked smart, great guy. I love Isaiah.
I appreciate you, Chris.
I've told him this once on the phone. I just wanted everyone in chat to know. And I know most of you are here from Isaiah's Live. If you haven't already, make sure you follow this great patriot. Go ahead.
Chris, you're an American patriot.
Wow.
And most importantly, you're my brother. You're a great brother. You're my brother with a little bit less melanin. But you know what? You're still my brother. All right? We're just going to say it. I love you, bro, man.
I'm not supposed to say it. I love you too, buddy. You're a good guy. You're a good guy.
All right, Chris.
All right,
Well,
you going to bed?
yeah, bro.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try to catch like a little bit of a second wind and try to keep going for a bit. We'll see.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Be
Take
safe.
care,
It
bro.
was good talking to you. It was good to see
All
you,
right,
man.
for sure, bro.
Keep killing it. Yo, shout out to fucking Isaiah. Have you seen this dude's lives? I love you too. He's killing it. And thanks everyone for coming over from Isaiah. I love that dude. Good guy. Smart guy. Oh, okay, chat. All right. We're gonna lock in. Yo, Thaddeus, thanks for $2 on YouTube on the YouTube super chat. I actually appreciate you so fucking much. Go Mockler team. Yo, I appreciate it. Can we get 1,000,000 W's for Thaddeus? I genuinely appreciate that. I don't take that for granted. I don't. And I mean that. It really means the world. The fact that anyone would be willing to donate monetarily in that way. Dark Sunray, $2. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Mockler was on TDO too. Screw everyone else. TDO? Question mark. TDO. I feel like this is something really basic that I should know. What TDO? What, he was on TDO? What? I'm waiting for someone to tell me and then me be like super dumb and be like, what? What was going on? Ryan. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna let Ryan. Good chat. I'm gonna try to get a second win. Double tap the screen. My head's hurting. All right, my head's hurting, but we do it for the people, for the troops and the kids. That's a really niche, dumb TikTok reference. Probably a creator most people would not like. He's just going really viral in the like manosphere's face. He's so dumb, but I keep seeing his videos. He just makes, every time I see a video of his, he does drunk runs. It's like he just gets drunk and runs like 8 miles. And every time he does it, he's like, we're going to do a Don Julio run. And he like takes like 5 shots of Don Julio and runs like 6 miles. And he's always like, I got to do this for the kids and the troops. And now I'm just like, I'm like, for the kids and the troops. Ryan, buddy, you've been spamming my comments. Jackie, you're the best. Really quick. Yo, Bren, you're the best. Roxy, thanks so much for the $1 over on Venmo. There's a link to your bio. I appreciate you so much. Of course. Wait, of course. Where's I do have space on TikTok. I think I might have to remove someone. What a great, or YouTube. Wow, I love all of you. What's up, Ryan? You've been real anxious here.
Yeah, dude. I'm just telling you, dude. You've been spreading lies and misinformation all night long, dude. That's why you got a damn headache, dude. Spreading too much damn information.
Is this a troll?
No, I'm not trolling.
Maddie, we love
I'm
you.
not trolling, dude.
Maddie, I know you've been in here watching and also in the Grace.
I was in Maddie's live the other night too.
All right, well, Maddie's amazing. If you guys don't follow Maddie, if a mod could pin, I promise I'm gonna get you up here to co-host soon. Maddie, I'm sorry. I apologize. We haven't done that recently. Okay, so not a troll. Great. What lies have I been spreading?
What do you say? Repeat that.
How old are you, first of all?
I'm 32.
Okay. What lies have I been spreading?
You've been saying a lot. The dude I was just up here, yeah, I forgot what you were talking about, but he brought up a very good point again, and he cooked both of y'all, dude. And also, y'all's whole argument against border laws and everything has been straight bullshit, dude. Y'all want to get these illegals that commit crimes from other countries in here, and improve our country is to get them out and make sure we're not getting their criminal.
Okay, so why does that improve your life?
It improves my life because number one, it frees up job opportunities.
Okay,
Number two,
let's pause right there. I think that a mass deportation program in the ways that you probably support it would do immense amounts of damage to the job.
Well, right now, unemployment is holding right now. It's holding.
Not really. I mean, it's been ticking up. It's also the slowest. It's certainly up a little bit, but it's also the slowest pace of hiring this country has seen in 25 years, not including COVID. It's harder than ever to get a job, at least certainly in our lifetimes. So that's number one. Number two, again, like when we look at just the basic statistics, again, I think immigration as a whole, documented and undocumented, has really, the U.S. has a labor shortage problem. We don't have enough native-born workers to work every single job. I think it would be significantly more of an economic problem right now. Was it
We
not?
need more American-made jobs and more American-made workers.
But listen to my words. There is not, and look, I want to be clear about a few things here. Number one, the fix to what I'm saying right now, I don't believe is like letting everybody across the border. I think that there should be reforms in the border. I think there should be border security. I would like people to come here the legal way. I'm also understanding that that's very difficult, and I support deporting people who commit violent crimes. I'm not supportive of, like the really inhumane things that we're doing right now. But there's also a reality, which is, because facts over feelings, which is that you say we need to open more American-made jobs. There are not enough native-born U.S. workers to work every single job. And so if all of these undocumented people who are less likely to commit violent crimes are working statistically longer hours than Americans and are part of our communities, if they all got deported tomorrow, it would be, I think, in a lot of ways catastrophic for the U.S. economy, and would actually lead to more Americans being unemployed because businesses would potentially go under, which would then cause American workers, if they worked at a business that also had undocumented people or documented immigrants in certain cases working, then they would have to go under, and those Americans would lose their jobs. But it's just an economic fact that we have a labor shortage, and immigration has played a huge role in curbing potential economic disaster from that over the last 5 years, let's say.
Okay, so can we both agree on this? When a immigrant crosses the border illegally, he is therefore a criminal. He is crossing the border with no papers, no work visa, no green card, no nothing.
What is the point? I just don't understand why we're doing it. I feel like you didn't address any of what I just said, by the way.
No. We can address that, but I want to make sure that we know that when an immigrant comes across the border,
I don't really care. Like in this.
Okay. So then we can address it. We can address what you're talking about. Okay. So you said if we deported a bunch of immigrants tomorrow, it would make the economy go down by a lot, which I think is false.
Okay. The job market, yeah. Sure.
The job market, yes, yeah. You said the jobs would the unemployment would go up. Yes, yeah, that's what you said, and I don't think that's true. I said open up more jobs for people.
Okay, but
go ahead.
There's not enough native-born people to work every single job.
Yes, there is actually. There is.
No, there literally isn't. The numbers don't support it. And again, the way Donald Trump is carrying this out right now, I don't think is at scale to what I think what he's doing right now is really horrible. And it's at scale, this mass deportation program. I don't think it's at a mass deportation program that you believe it is. If it was at the scale that you believed it to be, I'm telling you, it's just a numbers game. The amount of open jobs available to people is more than the amount of native-born people in the labor force. We have a shrinking labor force. Okay? So it's a problem.
Okay, so Chris, how can it make the unemployment rise when it's the least amount of deportation in a term?
What did you just say?
So if Trump is deporting all these immigrants, right? Okay. The unemployment you say is rising. Okay. So then for example, when Obama was in office, I believe he had the most deportations, which was more than Trump. I know that for a fact. The economy, the unemployment was rising at that time.
I think there's like a lot of fat. I think there's a lot of fat. Like again, the point I was making was like a very, very broad claim about the U.S. labor market. Obviously, when we zoom in a bit about what's actually happening practically with mass deportations, like what's affecting the unemployment rate is a lot more complicated. And obviously, the labor market as a whole is more complicated than everyone gets a job one-to-one. So just because let's say there's 100,000 jobs and there's 50,000 people, some of those people will like work at Walgreens while others may be like qualified to be doctors. I'm not qualified for certain jobs, right, et cetera. But again, like I don't even understand really what the question that's being asked here. Like Donald Trump is, I don't think Donald Trump, oh my God, go ahead.
Okay. So we'll go to a different topic. I can tell you're already getting pissed off about deportation. Okay. So Okay, so about the gas prices, I knew he was lying about it. Honestly, a person with a brain knows that the president cannot control the gas prices, right? And so he used that to a tactic so he can win in the race. We all know that.
That's amazing.
Okay. Okay. So grocery prices, I would say they're going down. He just
I mean, they're not.
he just introduced an act that would in the 87 category where it's a lower grocery prices act. You can look it up, and he's waiting on it to get passed. Okay, so there is something that he's doing to try to lower the prices.
There's a lower grocery prices act sitting in Congress.
Yes, he just introduced it. I can show you right now.
No, I mean I'll take your word for it, but again, this is a guy who's had a mandate. It's been over a year. He's passed less legislation up to this point than any president in the last 70 years. Why was this not passed on day 1 or 2 or 3? I mean, what is he doing?
I would imagine it takes a little bit of time to come up with it.
Joe Biden passed more fiscal legislation than any president in modern American history.
It was a bunch of bullshit legislation. We know that, dude.
Really? All right, let's go through a couple of them. He passed the largest investment in infrastructure since Eisenhower, $1.3 trillion for roads and bridges. Do you support that?
What did you say? Repeat that.
I said he passed the largest infrastructure bill since Eisenhower, $1.3 trillion for roads and bridges. Do you support that?
That one I did support, yes.
Okay, what about a huge expansion of veterans' health care, the PACT Act? 1.1 million veterans signed up in their first year.
I do support that, yes.
Okay, great. What about a CHIPS Act, 280? I actually don't know the number off the top of my head. It's been a while, but a CHIPS Act that gave private businesses tax cuts to give them incentive to bring their manufacturing to the United States. We immediately had big companies building huge manufacturing plants to build computer chips in places like Ohio and Washington.
Yeah. So those three I do support.
Okay. I also want to point out, under Donald Trump, we've lost manufacturing jobs for 13 out of the last 14 months. Manufacturing is a fucking nightmare, and it's been declining in America for 30 years, but I think there's been a more substantial decline under Donald Trump because of his policies. But I just named 3 massive bills that, in total, I would argue, though that's more legislation Donald Trump's passed so far in his entire administration, and there's a lot more bills from Joe Biden. So it doesn't sound like to me you believe he passed a bunch of nonsense. I don't know why Donald Trump didn't pass the large infrastructure bill. Why has Donald Trump not passed veterans health care? Why has Donald Trump not done anything for manufacturing, even though he claims he has?
I mean, those are all good points, but at the same time, the thing with Trump is that we've seen in his last administration in 2016, we've seen how he likes to do stuff within time. He doesn't do it all at one time like Biden. I think last administration, it took a long time to get the Tax Cuts Act, or that was day 1, I forgot. But there was a lot of good things that Trump has done for this country, and I think the 3 legislation that you named for Biden were the only 30 things that he's done. If you can name any administration, or not administration, legislative that he passed that's actually worth the damn besides this 3, I would like to hear.
Because you're referencing Joe Biden?
Yes.
What about the American Rescue Plan, $1.7 trillion, some amount of COVID relief and large investment in education ever, public education?
That was a bullshit act. That was bullshit.
Really? Why?
Yes. That was bullshit.
Why?
Dude, listen. Public school, it needs a change.
All right. I'm just gonna stop. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna stop right there really quick. What about the first president to cap prices for drugs for seniors on Medicare, first starting with $35 for insulin, and then by the end of his administration, 15 drugs were capped for a certain price. My grandma voted for Donald J. Trump. She opened her first pack of cigarettes when she was 14, had a heart attack at 35, quit for 2 weeks. She is about to turn 90. She loves Donald Trump. She called my mom one time and she said, why do I see your grandson on Fox News? She's very supportive of what I do. And she says, Chris, I open your TikToks to make sure you're alive, but I don't play the volume on them because I don't like them. She's a very sweet woman, and she got COVID, and being a 70-year smoker was really high risk. My mom got COVID right around the same time. This was in 2024. And there was a new antiviral drug out from Pfizer. My mom went to the pharmacy to pick it up. It was prescribed to her, and it was $1,300. My mom did not buy it. Insurance didn't cover it. She's not paying $1,300 out of pocket. My grandma, because she's a senior on Medicare, it was free. And my grandma came home and she jokingly called me and said, quote, this is the only good thing Joe Biden's ever done. I was actually pretty impressed. Now, it's certainly not the only good thing that Joe Biden's ever done, but as somebody who actually does care about my grandma, that was pretty freaking impressive and actually meant a lot to me, because Joe Biden's a president who, although not perfect, was cared enough to serve, all people, not just himself and not just Republicans, as Donald Trump is the most outwardly corrupt president and sells food, sells shoes and phones and Bibles and pardons to the highest bidder. His net worth has tripled, and he tried to overthrow an election he didn't win with evidence. He didn't win it because he cares only about himself, and he's a raging narcissist. So what do you think about Joe Biden capping drugs for seniors?
Yeah, I think that's another one I can agree with you on there, Chris, because I think it does do good stuff for senior citizens like